So, hi guys, welcome to yet another Scope community meeting. Today we have Akash, Amal, Tatiana, and we don't have too many items on the agenda. We have discussed volume snapshot support proposal and review recent PRs and issues. See if anyone has more info or wants to review, fix any of them. There's also an issue which is getting urgent, and I haven't had time to fix, which is migrating Circle CI to 2.0. Somebody was assigned to it, but are you? Okay, Philip is here, so he can give an update on this. Just, I'm at the WeWorks office in Berlin. That's why there's multiple people and not just me, sadly, at home.
Hello.
This is great. Hi, Philip.
So yes, I assigned myself because I thought it was gonna be something I would do in 5 or 10 minutes. I don't have much experience with Circle CI, so just not to block anyone else's progress or like attempts, I just de-assigned myself. And in the meantime, Guy said he was gonna take a look. He's also a guy working for our company, and don't know if he assigned himself.
I think he did, because it was somebody I didn't know, and I didn't know a guy, so it makes sense.
Yeah, so he was gonna take a look. It just like seemed like there were quite a few changes, deprecations, and in particular relating to caching, but the whole flow has changed. So I just figured it was a couple of hours, and I didn't have time, so I de-assigned myself.
All right. Okay. Thanks, Philip.
Not sure how far Guy is. Maybe I can check with him tomorrow.
But he's working on it. Maybe we can ask on Slack so that everybody gets info.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Philip.
No worries. Bye-bye.
Bye. Hi again. So the next item in the agenda is discuss volume snapshot support proposal. So maybe if everybody can open the issue created by Satyam. I read it briefly, but maybe you could, Satyam, maybe you could present it.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so I hope my screen is visible.
Yes.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so as discussed, like in the previous meetings, about the adding snapshot support, snapshot and clone support for Kubernetes volumes. So many of you know that now ViewScope supports the Kubernetes volume support, right? It shows all the volume topologies, like how persistent volumes, PVC, storage class have been shown. So this is the second and the largest part from OpenEBS side. We want to have not only OpenEBS but Portworx is also there. So we want ViewScope to have the snapshot and cloning support from the ViewScope itself.
Maybe you could give some context on what snapshots or clones are, or even volumes if people don't know. Very briefly.
Yeah, sure. So as all of you know, Kubernetes manages the containers, and Kubernetes has two types of application. One is a stateless, one is a stateful application. In stateless application, we don't need to manage the state of the application, and in stateful application, we need to manage the storage along with the Kubernetes. Okay, for example, our web applications, we have front end, back end, and then database attached to it. So we need some place to keep that database application. So we create the volumes on the either on a host or on a remote disk, and there are certain protocols through which that database application can talk to the actual disk on the host. Okay, in our case, it's a iSCSI protocol. So through iSCSI protocol, all the data is transferred from volume to the disk. Okay, So in Kubernetes, we have the concept of persistent volume, okay, and persistent volume claim. So let's say I have an application called, MongoDB. So for MongoDB, I will simply write a Kubernetes YAML spec sample. In that, I will specify how much size I want. In that, I will specify what should be the username, a password, and all those stuff, and where this database should lie. Either it can lie on the host path, or it can lie in the GPD, or on the AWS EBS, or Portworx volumes, or OpenEBS volumes. So first we create the persistent volume claim for that particular application, and it has a storage class assigned to that particular application for MongoDB. And once you apply this persistent volume claim YAML, it will search for the storage class in that YAML. Okay, this is the storage class. Storage class usually represents which storage provider is needs to provision this particular volume. Okay, so once we apply the PVC, it will create a PV. PV is nothing but underlying volume. And once a PV is created, so in the area of storage admins, what happens is, they have like a critical operations such as restoring the data, taking the snapshot of the data, having a replication feature in the application. So in this current proposal, it is about the snapshots. So what is snapshot? Once you have the PV and PVC ready on your system, you can just take a snapshot of that, and there is a snapshot YAML to do this particular task. And that snapshot YAML, once you apply, so that will create a volume snapshot object and a volume snapshot data object. So volume snapshot object is similar to the PVC, and volume snapshot data, which contains the actual data, so that is a PV. Okay, I hope this is clear in this.
With respect to the YAML of the volume snapshot and the volume snapshot data, they're handled similarly to all the other Kubernetes resources, right?
Yes. These are
through the
these are the Kubernetes CRDs currently, and they are deployed as a CRD. And they will become the part of Kubernetes in next 6 months or so.
All right. Yeah, but it works like any other resource, right?
Yes, exactly.
Of the API server, and they will be stored, and you can consult them, and so on and so forth. Correct?
Right. Yes, exactly correct. So currently this snapshot support was it is kept in the Kubernetes. It is still an incubation project as of now, so it's kept in the external storage, and CRD and all other details for this snapshot are available in this particular page. I also have provided the link to the proposal for the snapshot, actual Kubernetes snapshotting proposal. So yeah, basically, once we have this volume snapshot and volume snapshot data, then from this we can actually restore the PVC and PV from this particular snapshot, and that is known as clone. This is called as a data restoration. Okay, so you restored your data from particular time. Okay, so any questions till now?
Does Kubernetes provide any functionality to handle snapshots? Because
yes.
As a backup, you want to get the snapshot and put it somewhere safe, not keep it in the cluster, right?
Yeah. So that depends on the storage provider, like how because if it's a GPD, then you can detach it from one host and attach it to the other one, right? So that can be one thing. In OpenEBS, we have something called cmotion, which which moves one stateful workload from one cluster to other cluster, no matter who is storage provider. So
Right.
those facilities are there. Yes.
So what you mean is that something you wouldn't handle through Kubernetes. You would need to do it at the storage provider level, and Kubernetes wouldn't know anything about it.
Yes, exactly right.
All right.
So our goal here is.
Can I interrupt here? This is Aditya from Portworx.
Hey Aditya, hi.
Hey.
Hello.
So so I'm a developer at Portworx, and it's one of the storage providers for Kubernetes. And so I understand your question is that when you take a snapshot, it's going to be probably inside the Kubernetes cluster itself. But there are even this snapshot external storage has a facility where you can create a snapshot request in such a way that it's a cloud backup. So what happens, and it's still in proposal phase, and it would go in and be baked in completely. But what that would do is it's probably going to take a snapshot and put it as a probably the whole volume or the PV object would be backed up as in an S3 object store or any object store which is external to the Kubernetes cluster. So Kubernetes is going to provide that support where you would be able to provide a specific snapshot request saying that I don't want a snapshot locally in the cluster, but I want it to be backed up to a specific cloud, say AWS, GCE, and it would take the PV object and store it as an S3 object. Does that make sense? So both these functionalities are supported and will through this external snapshot controller.
All right. Good.
Yep, that's right. Yep. So yeah, this is about the snapshots and clones. So our plan is to, currently, like in the previous week, we had a meeting with Aditya and Prashant, in the past week. So meeting was about, in the Kubernetes external storage. Okay, so here currently we have the client. Currently snapshot is deployed as a CRD, and it has its own client. Okay, so but this client in this repository does not have the client set. It is of type REST client. Okay, so we had a detailed discussion, right, Aditya?
Yes.
Yeah. So we had decided to create an external repo as of now, and generate the client set for the snapshot CRD and put it in this external repo, and we will add a dependency of that repo in the view scope. And once volume snapshot becomes entry plugin for Kubernetes, let's say 6 months, or it is depending on the Kubernetes SIG storage, how soon they want to get it in the Kubernetes. So once it is part of Kubernetes, we can remove this dependency and just use the normal client Go to do the operations.
Yeah, I'm not sure I quite got that. So let me read this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we could vendor a fork while that happens. That would be fine.
Yes, exactly. That's what Satyam is trying to say, that we'll have to fork the repository for now, implement the client set, and then use that in vScope.
That is actually fine. We've done that. As long as you take responsibility for updating it to the final one, once it's incorporated there, then it's fine. We've done that for different things in the past.
Okay, that's awesome. I think Satyam,
right.
That's what exactly we want to do, right?
We've done
yes,
that
yes.
For serializing stuff, for the serialization library. We've done that for other things. I recall making forks and creating PRs and waiting for them to be merged before getting back to the main line. I think that's perfectly fine.
Yeah, that's cool.
Actually, we were looking into upgrading to a more modern client. Same version. Okay, that's great, because David was looking into that in order for licensing reasons, because apparently the Kubernetes license clashes with.
No. There was. I forgot which piece it was. I think it's like the version of Django we use still incorporates like Juju rate limit or something, which is LGPL,
Okay.
and that was replaced a while ago. So updating to a more recent.
Right. So it's a problem with the dependency of the client, whose license was
Client Go
incompatible.
will pull in something else. Or depends
Okay,
on
well,
the
that's a
so-
detail. We don't need to get much into it. But basically, by doing that, we would also be fixing that problem
Yes.
for David, and everybody will be happier.
Yeah, cool. That's great, Fons. So as a part of this effort, we will be upgrading the client Go to 8.0 because Snapshot was recently introduced, and
Be prepared for things breaking, because every time we upgrade the client, it's a bit of a mess. Hopefully,
yes,
I think this is the first time we upgraded since we moved to Client Go. But the upgrade from the Kubernetes vendoring to Client Go was a pain. Was horrible. Hopefully this time it will be better. Please go on.
cool. Okay, so that was the first step, and second one is to add support to show the actual volume snapshot and snapshot data on the view scope, which is nothing but kubectl get volume snapshot and volume snapshot data implementation using the client Go. And once we have these two objects ready, then we have to add a control. Basically, we have to add a control on the PVC. And we will just click on that particular PVC, and it will just generate a volume snapshot. And and the third step is to add a control on the volume snapshot itself to create a clone out of it. So I'll quickly. Yeah. Okay. So actually, I just this should be the PVC, and this should be the PV. Okay. So consider this as a PVC. So on this PVC, we will have to add the control. If I click on that, it will create a volume snapshot and volume snapshot for that particular PVC at that particular time. Okay. And this volume snapshot will have a button to clone for clone. And once we click on that, it should create a PVC and a PV for that particular from that particular volume snapshot and volume snapshot data.
So I have a couple of questions. I guess you want to do this as, I think you want to add two new topologies to Scope, right? Volume snapshot, volume snapshot data, correct?
Right.
But I wonder, what is the point of having a volume snapshot data? Because what can you do with it? What information can you get? And can you do anything with it? How is
Point of it will show me like what are the snapshots present in my current cluster. Okay. And second thing is, if I want to restore a particular snapshot, then it would be very easy through view scope to just go and just click on that snapshot, and it will just create a new PVC and PV.
Yeah. I understand that. But my question wasn't about that. My question was about volume snapshot data.
Data. Data is the simple PV. We can either show it or not. We can only either have a volume snapshot. I think this question can be like would have been better for the Prashant to answer. Like
no, so I can try to answer that question. The way Kubernetes has defined these terms, snapshot and clone, are defined in such a way that snapshot is probably considered to be as a read-only snapshot, like a read-only volume, and clone is going to be something which is a writable volume. So when you take a snapshot, so the volume snapshot corresponds to a PVC object, and volume snapshot data corresponds to a PV object. So volume snapshot data is basically something that you can read, like read the state of the volume at certain point of time when the snapshot was taken. And now when you create a clone is created from that snapshot. So the PVC of the clone is nothing but the volume snapshot, and PV object, which is going to be a writable volume, is the volume snapshot data. So I'm a bit unaware of how all these things pan out in scope, but what I think was if the reason we would need volume snapshot data is because that's going to be the reference for creating a clone along with volume snapshot.
Yeah. I understand that, but it's not actionable in any way. You were telling me, right? Because the control will happen on the volume snapshot. So I fail to see. Maybe that's even the case today with PVCs. I don't know, but
Yeah, as in PVC also, like there is
you have attributes you want to read, right? There's information you want to see in scope about the PVC. But I would be interesting from pure ignorance. I really don't know how it works. What kind of information a volume snapshot data, except apart from the data itself, we will be able to see. And whether I think we should think whether it's valuable to show that on scope. And if not, then we can spare ourselves from adding yet another topology.
Yeah.
Okay, so you mean to say that only volume snapshot can be shown, and that can be, and we can have an internal mappings between the volume snapshot and the volume snapshot data, which is what Kubernetes keeps. So you would use that and have more actionable items on top of it, like a clone.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not
Awesome.
telling you we should go that way. I'm just trying to probe a little bit and see whether we really need it or not. It's entirely up to you, and if you think it's valuable, then we can add it. But I'm from your description, it sounds like maybe there's not all that. It's not all that important to show the volume snapshot data if it just contains the data and not other information. Again, it's from pure ignorance that I'm asking this. I'm not saying we should do it that way.
Okay. To be honest as well, I'm also not that well versed with how scope is written or how does it function. So I think maybe what we can do is I'll have to do some homework with Satyam, and then we can come up with something definitive saying that is it needed or it's not needed and can be done without it being.
But this is not really about how scope works. It's more about what we want to show on scope. I mean, we could, if we needed information about the snapshot data internally, in order to display some stuff, you could put it inside the nodes of the snapshot. So you could add that information there. You don't necessarily need a separate topology for that.
Yes,
so if you need the snapshot data, metadata or whatnot, you can still pass it to the application if you need it. You don't need to display it in a separate topology. You know what I mean?
Yep.
In the same way you have like a container and you can show the, I don't know, you can have information about the volumes in the container, and we don't have a topology for the volumes of the container, but we could still show that it has 2 volumes and they're named this and they're mounted here. You know what I mean?
Yes, Fons. I think there was one issue regarding this. I remember this.
All right. Well, I don't think we need to design the whole thing right now, but let's say that overall it looks good to me.
Okay.
But the only thing which I'm not sure about is whether we need to have a topology for volume snapshot data.
Okay, cool. I'll consider this suggestion, Fons, and we will do one thing. Since we have been working since past 15 days on this, we have some POC ready, but I think it would be good if we show it in the next demo. It's not completely ready because shapes and all those things are not decided as of now. So basically this is all from my side. We have to still decide other factors for this, like shape and what should be the control icon, how the naming should be done. So probably I'll discuss with Aditya and Prashant, and we will come up with these suggestions.
Good, thanks.
Yeah. And also demo in the next mid.
All right, great.
Yep. Yeah.
Should we go through the issues on PRs in the past 2 weeks?
Yeah, sure. I'm done. Yeah.
It's 20 days ago. Actually, we have Lily here, and she created a few issues. Gather network information in the CRI probe.
That's the leftover CRI.
Which has been merged.
Yes, the initial one, yes. So basically it shows the whenever you use Docker as your runtime, it goes through the CRI API, and it shows the basic information.
I need to use as a container topology for that.
It's a separate probe.
Oh, it's a separate probe.
Yes. So it doesn't use Docker probe, but it uses separate probe, and it doesn't use the
Fonts,
Yeah.
I can barely hear.
All right. Maybe Lily, you can
I'm
come.
Hello. Yes, so basically our initial PR for this, for adding a CRI probe was merged a week ago or two. And it basically adds the basic information like container name, and it displays them. But we want to also add the network information. And there's like discussion on this issue about that. But it's a separate probe from it. So it's whenever your container runtime is not Docker in your Kubernetes cluster, but it's either containerd or CRI-O, for example. It goes through the CRI API.
All right. Okay. Great.
Cool. Yeah.
I'm planning
Thanks.
to start working on this week, hopefully. I have some other stuff in the meantime.
Maybe we can go through and let Lily be go through the
Yes,
other
sure.
CRI issues.
Yeah, so this one I'm not sure. So right now Docker,
We're talking about 3300 CRI
Yes.
investigate exec attached into a container.
yes, so basically this one, at first glance, I'm not sure it's possible because at least not through the CRI, but I'm not sure, as it doesn't allow that in the same way as the Docker API allows it. But I'll see. It needs to be looked at. But right now, we're like, at least for WeaveCloud, we're prioritizing at least displaying the network information.
All right.
But
Good.
it's all up for grabs if anyone wants to do it.
There's another one. Add integration tests. I don't
Yes.
think we need to discuss that very much.
No.
Add unit tests. Improve error message when
Oh
probe
yes,
fails.
that one's actually a nice first issue if anyone wants to grab it. It just needs to be formatted a bit better. We're seeing that in our logs as by default and master enabled CRI probe. That's been fixed already. But this, if anyone wants to pick it up, it's just like a just formatting.
Any takers? This is a good issue if you haven't worked all that much on WeaveScope. Tumbleweed. All right. Okay. I think that's it, right?
Yes.
Thanks, Lily. Thanks.
Thanks.
Your eyes report.
Fonts, what was the issue number? Like if we have something, some place left on my plate, I can look into it.
It's just fixing it's 3306 CRI
Okay.
error message when probe fails. This one's an easy first pass.
Cool. Sure. If I get some time next week, I'll spend on it.
All right.
Yeah. Thanks.
None of the client go. I just wanted to capture it. Go a bit further down. That's the one.
That was this one.
Oh no, further down. Sorry. Further? Yeah, that's the one. 3284. It's the one about updating.
I'll
Client
actually update this. All right. Good. Where were we? CRI, gather a network, better visualization of a large number of nodes in circular layout. Yeah, the current layout. All right, yeah, this requires a lot of design. 3293. Next one, use graph edge component for graph edges. I think we'll lift this to, yeah, this is related to Weaveworks UI components. I think we'll lift this to Philip. Or we're doing controls for loopback. Connection refused. Okay, this is a bug we should look into. Any takers? 3299. This is a bug for controls, which we should look into. Unfortunately, these days I don't really have time for development, so I would appreciate if somebody could chip in. Yeah. I'm not sure. We're not even sure it's repeatable or not, though. Okay. CRI. Switch to much text, external component everywhere. Another one from Philip. This is for UI components from Wavworks. We'll lift this to them. I don't think we should be working on that dependency. URL mentioned in a repository description shows page not found. This is documentation. I'll assign this to Anita.
Assign it to me.
All right.
Yeah.
Great. Thanks. Use new search bar component, another one from Philip, and then we have the proposal we went through. And in terms of PRs, we only have 2 PRs. One, yeah. Vendor YAML to latest upstream. I should look into this one. I'll assign it. I'll assign myself as a reviewer. And I hadn't seen the one from Brian. This is awesome. Use netlink to connect to contract. This is great because it should improve the performance of contract. Because we were running the contract command and it took a long time. We were parsing the text. Hopefully it will improve performance. We tried this before. Oh, and he upstreamed the changes. This is fantastic. Good job, Brian, if you get to watch this. Nice. All right.
Yeah, Fons, this enable Kubernetes support to be reported just once in a cluster, 3274, right? I've been like testing this, so I'll put my review soon. I'm just hanging this at the bottom of my list. 3274. 3274.
Yeah, I got it. I'm looking into it. Enable Kubernetes objects to be reported just once in a cluster. Oh, yeah. So this one is actually.
Yeah, if you remember, we discussed this in the past meeting.
You recall that. So did you bring it up because you're interested to implement it, or?
No, I'll review this.
Oh, hold on. Yeah, 22 days ago. Oh, this is great.
Yes.
I should get up to date on the reviews. Yes, I've been really busy with other stuff. This is fantastic. So Brian implemented this as well. I'll review this one and the netlink stuff. Yeah, I guess you guys are looking forward to this one, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I'll take a look. Right. All right. Anything else?
I have. Yes, one more thing, Fons. There is an issue. I just went through the list again. I saw there is an issue called like 3284 from Daniel. Please update vendor copy of KTS client Go. 3284.
32 what?
3284.
Yeah.
So probably I'll take this one, and
You're gonna fix it
yep,
implicitly by fixing this other one.
yes,
I'll
because yeah.
All right, good. So I'll review the PRs from Brian, which is pretty exciting stuff. And do you guys have any other topics to discuss or anything else? Thanks for for the well documented issue of snapshots and clones. I'm looking forward to the implementation.
Yeah, sure, Fons. Basically, this is it from my side.
All right. Anybody else? Topics, worries, concerns, congratulations, celebrations, which we never do enough. All right. Okay. Thanks, guys. I'll upload the video in a bit.
Sure. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks for organizing.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.